So continuing from where I abruptly stopped the video, it's basically telling you what happens when you click this clickable here. I'll call it clickable. Okay, what happens when you click here? Whether a file opens in a new window or this same tab, whether a PDF file opens in a PDF viewer in the same tab or in another tab, or it starts a download. As it is set up, it starts a download, and that's where you will have your Python code snippet for downloading a file using send from server Django. Django download a file 9 years ago. That's from 9 years ago. Okay, how to download the files from URLs with Python. This reads the file, saves it in the variable called response, and sends it. Content disposition inline, as we read it there, right? Inline is it'll be read, not downloaded. So indicates if the resource transmitted should be displayed inline, default behavior without the header, or if it should be handled like a download and the browser should present as present and save as download dialog. So as you can see, this is being controlled from your web framework Django, which handles this file that this is written in. So Django reads this file and does whatever you tell it to do in the file. Okay, so for example, what you can control from your server can also be controlled from your web framework Django in this case. Another one is Flask. So controlling HTTP headers from Django, controlling HTTP headers from Nginx. So for example, Nginx sits on the outer side. Nginx is kind of the gatekeeper. So it's better to write it in Nginx configuration or wherever it is written in the Nginx environment itself. So before you're processing a request, you're performing certain checks. That would be an example. For example, you're checking if the IP address is permitted. If I don't want access in a particular region, geolocation restriction Nginx. Restricting access by geolocation is given here. Reverse proxy, whatever it is, it's not of concern to us, but restrict traffic based on geographic location with Nginx Plus. Nginx Plus is the paid version, and you have the community version, which is not charged for, and that is just an example, and that's what I mean. Before it reaches your application, which before it reaches your Python code here, before it reaches this function which will handle your request will contain what resource is requested. Resource can be text, audio, image, video, or it could be possibly there are other things. You could request metadata, possibly, but it'll be in these modalities, one of these, right? So by the way, modality is what you have in AI literature as well. So first it was only text, now we have images, videos, audios, and everything generated by AI. So you can control those things from Nginx itself, and this is what's recommended. And anyway, when you learn about proxy servers, you have to think about these things. Proxy server is you could think of something like, okay, I will relay your message to the actual um, server having this application responsible for handling your request, that kind of thing. Then there is load balancers. Load balancers are servers that take off the extra traffic from another server, from other servers. That's a way to put it in very simplistic terms. Okay. Distributes network traffic. Yeah, that's what I said. AI approved. So these are what servers do. These are, I mean, this is adding on top of what I've already said and discussed and shown you here. And I'm sure this is at a higher level than you would want, than you would appreciate, than you would be willing to take. But we will write a server together. So you cannot trust AI with Nginx configuration files because it has to do with security concerns, and it has to do with all sorts of things that are so debugging, code execution, AI security limitations. You could have a look at those things if you wanted. You could ask such questions. Debugging challenges and AI assistants can create a false sense of security. This Martin asserts. Okay. By the way, if you want more on this, that's one resource I'd recommend. That's one resource I would recommend. Okay. Yes. And I can go on recommending other things, but I'll keep that for later. So debugging code execution, that is surely a security nightmare if you're using AI without thinking about these security implications. And that's what we're looking at when we're talking about HTTP headers. So, for example, rate my site for security. It's A, etc. A plus, E plus, so on. Okay, that is too much of time. Penetration testing services, website grader, SSL server test. So that is why you have HTTPS. The point I'm trying to make is you have HTTPS today. HTTPS is for SSL. S is for secure socket layer SSL, and that is encryption. SSL encryption, which cannot be broken by humans or programs, computer programs, in any amount of time, except quantum computing. Okay. Significant future threat from quantum computing because widely used asymmetric algorithms RSA, ECC, Diffie-Hellman are vulnerable to being broken by quantum algorithms. Speaking of which, I would point you to, and the word is ad infinitum. Okay, how much will you learn? And error control coding requires you to know algebra. Yeah, so we will talk about this some other day. Hopefully, I will talk about this someday. Yes, so coming back to HTTP headers, it wants an email address. I am so unwilling to give my email address that I will defer it for later. We postpone it. We'll talk about this particular bit later. But SSL is what powers net banking today. SSL is what powers net banking, as if humans acquired AI validation. Backbone of net banking. There's your metaphor. So that is what we are looking at when we are talking about the OSI layer. When we are talking about reading this page and other documentation, MDN is the go-to resource. Okay, and no matter what else you're doing, you will have to have. This is a great. You can see it's here. Um, you can find it here. Okay, that's LinkedIn. It's amazing OSI model elimination, and you have this here on YouTube, 4.1.4 million views and so on 12 years ago. So if you want to spend time on this, be my guest. Yeah, optic fiber, and then what is the OSI model, and you can have so many videos. I have already pointed you to a playlist. So 64 assembly self-modifying code, that is highly, that is the, I mean, highest level of this is computer science, so this is electronics, so that's what we're talking about here. And could have, for example, so it changes itself. That's morphism, code morphism. I don't know, I'm using that without thinking about it. No, this is used in a way that is different from what I mean. But if you, yeah, yes, I'm not, yes, this one, yeah. So if you recall that particular scene and those algorithms and whatever it is, this is you will appreciate it if you know things about computer science, and category theory again comes up. So these concepts are, you know, Proteus, right? Proteus. These concepts are ancient. This is something I had back in my engineering years. So that is different. Proteus, Odyssey. Okay, so protean is the adjective derivative from this, derived from this. Protean. Protein and GRE frequency list. Okay, that's multiple sources giving you the same and variants on it and so on. So controlling HTTP headers from Django, controlling HTTP headers from the server. Server is your Nginx or Apache or something else. It can be IIS, it can be AWS server header control HTTP layer, not layer. Yes. See, documentation. Ultimately, it's documentation. Okay. IIS is Windows Server. See, don't show me the version number of the OS I'm using, right? So that's all there is to it. And automation, automated tools. Automated tools which include but are not limited to stack scripts do all of this for you and give you a machine ready to use for your data. Now, your data can be the most beautiful novel you've ever written, or a video that you've generated for a competition in some animation studio. It can be anything at all. Okay, so best animations in the last decade, and the possibilities they're limitless. Okay, so you could talk about animations for education with AI. You can talk about anything that you like. As I've said, you can attach AI with everything today and have something to talk about. So, stack scripts, server. What servers are? That's what I started with, and now we are again back to this image. So what you're doing is you're writing rules, you're writing constraints, you're writing kind of budgeting or allocation of resources. You're saying things about security and about speed and so on. When I talk about speed, I'm talking about, okay, so how many requests will my machine be able to handle? That's where it starts. Secondly, how do I protect it from people accessing my machine in ways I do not want it accessed? So, third would be, why would someone want the same page 10 times in the same second? Doesn't make sense. No human would want that, and that's why you have memes on human verification captcha. Okay, and I don't want to get into that. I would rather give you captcha breaking with AI. You don't need AI. You have captcha breaking code, whatever the spelling is, breaking code medium or somewhere else. How to break captcha in 15 minutes. So that is where you have stuff like Selenium automation testing. Okay, so this is the start of it, and you start by writing files such as these. It's just a matter of issuing commands, and this is the format of the, I can use other words, but I'll use format instead. You have to write these things inside the server. You have location, and you put it in a file and you save the files in certain locations. You can control where you save the files. It is recommended that you do that because you don't want someone to access your machine without your permission. Unauthorized access, that's what you're looking at. Okay, and that's part of security. And all of this, this is, I mean, as I've said, you can copy paste all of these files, these common configurations. They'll be available online, and you can just copy these and paste this and run the whole thing without thinking about it. But that will be mindless. And what I've said in this video, in these two videos, is what you start with when you're talking about servers. So many things, not for exams like UGC NET, but for understanding what the technology that you have in your hand today is, what it is capable of, and how the future is going to look like. You don't have to know all of this. I love these things, of course. That's why I'm going on about them for so long. But at the same time, you have to be aware of these things. If you are, for example, if you're talking about cyber security 101, that's this is what you're talking about at the very least. Okay, yes, you can go through the material here if it is provided free of charge, because again, how many certifications, how many could go here instead. And that is just one platform. Another one is, I don't know if this particular channel has this, but